Hello friends. In recent years we have seen that many companies are using tamper-proof bolts and screws in their appliances so that we don't repair them ourselves. They don't want us to service their appliances because they're very good profits in repair services. But there's nothing tamper-proof in the do-it-yourself world. And in this video I'm going to show you how to bypass the tamper-proof bolts and screws. There are tool sets for most security bolts, but unless you're a pro removing these bolts on a daily basis, you might not want to invest a big sum in something you won't use very frequently. This is a long video, so I've divided it into different sections. In the description you'll find links to each one of these sections, and you can jump about however you want. First of all, I'm going to show you a trick, not only to identify with precision the details of a security bolt, but also its measurements. Looking at the head of a bolt at the bottom of a dark hole might not be the best way to identify a design, especially when new variants are invented every day. And different size of security bolts means a different tool for each. To get the right measurements of a security bolt hidden in a deep hole, what you need is a mold of the head. One option is the plastic handle of an old brush of the proper size. We burn the end of the handle, and once the flame covers enough plastic, we slide it into the hole, ensuring it covers the whole head of the bolt. We wait a few minutes till it's cold, and swinging it carefully a few times, it will come out with a negative copy of the security bolt head. With this model, we can check the design, the proportions, and even measure each part with a caliper with high precision. Now let's see the screws and bolts. There are hundreds of different kinds of security bolt heads, and we need to group them so we don't get confused. The best way to group them is according to the tool or hack we can use to remove them, and this is directly related to their design. All these bolt heads are rail security bolts because they require a special tool that is not easily available, if at all. If the bolt is above level, the easiest way to remove it is cutting a groove along the head to remove it with a flathead screwdriver. If the bolt or screw is countersink or hidden inside a deep hole, you have two options. Either you make a tool for it, or you drill it and remove it with a screw extractor. All you need is an old flathead screwdriver. You make a cut in the center, just a bit larger than the bridge in the screw head, and you rough the edges to the diameter of the bolt's head. And you're done. For this bolt head, you can also adapt an old flathead screwdriver. However, in this case, the center cut must be larger and quite precise to fit exactly in opposing grooves. However, there is a simpler tool that might work if the bolt isn't too tight. If the bolt is stuck, the plastic might break. There is no tool you can make to move these bolts if they're at the bottom of a hole. Your only option is drilling and using a screw extractor. But if they are above level, you can cut a groove with your tool of choice and remove it with a flathead screwdriver, or hammer it till it gets loose and you can unscrew it with a vice grip. All these bolt heads are real security bolts, because the pin in the middle forces you to use a special tool. We have regular tools, but the pin won't let you use them. However, there are some easy solutions. You can drill a hole in your tool and voila! Or you can use a very small screwdriver to get around the pin and voila! Just don't ruin your screwdriver. You might even get away with forcing a dowel into the head, as long as the bolt isn't stuck too hard. But if you don't have any of these options, you might have to make a tool to get it removed. But before cutting anything, you have to make the center hole for the pin. Then cut off what you don't need. None of these bolt heads is a true security bolt, because they can all be removed very easily using a small screwdriver, or even using a Torx driver. All these bolt heads are real security bolts, because they require a special tool that is not easily available. To unscrew a snake eye bolt, one with 2 holes, you can use the same tool you made for the H-type head, or the one made for the Gamebit head. But if those don't fit, all you need is an old paper clip, the right size. You remove the steel wire, cut off the sides, squeeze them to the proper distance, and holding the wire with the pliers, get the points into the holes and turn. Voila! This tool also should work on the 4-hole head and might work with a 3-hole head. You might be able to remove a 3-pin bolt just by placing a flat screwdriver between 2 of the pins, or using a Torx screwdriver. And you might be able to turn an inverted triangle head using an adjustable wrench, or fitting the triangle into a socket if the head is above level. But if it's at the bottom of a hole, you'll have to make a tool. You must find a screw or bolt with a triangular hole that fits well with a triangular protrusion. If needed, file the head to fit inside the hole where the screw is. Screw it in to a copper tube, squash the copper so it won't unscrew, and there you have a screwdriver for a triangular inverted screw. However, if you have an electric screwdriver, just hold it in the chuck and make it turn slowly. With the inverted Phillips security bolt, we have 2 options. The easiest option is a Phillips screw or bolt that is the perfect negative or inverted image of the security screw. The outer diameter of the head must fit in easily in the hole, otherwise we have to grind it to size. And it must pair deep enough so it can engage without slipping. If it doesn't, we have to file the center a little bit. The other option is making a tool from scratch. We pick a 5mm diameter steel wire or an old screwdriver, cutting off the point. We mark a 90-degree cross with a 24 TPI saw to find the centre. Then we drill with a 3mm bit, not more than 3mm deep. Then we finish cutting the X up to 2 or 3mm in depth. The 24 TPI saw is wide enough to engage with the X on the inverted Phillips security head. Well, that's all for the time being. I hope this is useful for you. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.